Il est 18h30 dans les studios de My Media Prime Television. Madame, Messieurs, bonsoir et c'est l'heure du Prime News. Et en ouverture de ce journal, l'association des droits humains Stand Up for Cameroon a lancé un appel aux Camerounais pour dire non aux violations des droits de l'homme au Cameroun. C'était lors de leur réunion mensuelle sur la situation des droits de l'homme pour le mois de février 2021. Lasha Kingsley y était son reportage.
Stand Up for Cameroon Human Rights Working Group, in its February 2021 report, says the situation of human rights in Cameroon is increasingly worrying. The report, published this 9th day of March 2021, which covers the period from February 1 to February 28, 2021, revealed that 41 deaths were recorded, 4 fire incidents, 7 kidnappings amongst others.
Right violation situation in Cameroon, I would say it is increasing. The violence is increasing. Nothing seems changing. The government is not reacting, because when we look at the statistics of last month and the statistics of this month, we see that the killings continue. Houses are still being burned. Women are still being attacked. Children are still being killed. Nobody is exempted from it. So to me, I don't see any great change. I don't see any great difference. I just see violence continuing in the country.
The working group calls on Cameroonians to know their rights, as well as rise up against all forms of human rights violations in Cameroon.
I'm asking each and every one of us to come out. Like what one of the panelists was saying, that if somebody is arrested, and his right is violated and it is communicated, instead for the citizen to join him, to support him, they will rather criticize. So we are calling on the citizens to join Stand Up for Cameroon, so that we come together when there is any violation of an individual's right. We move down together and we act upon it. And I bet you that the more we act, the more we come together, the more we mobilize, the more pressure we put to the government, it is certain that we are going to have a perfect feedback.
Stand Up for Cameroon Human Rights Working Group has also included in their report special recommendations to Cameroonians.
The major recommendations that have been put in place by Stand Up is with respect to the citizens of Cameroon, that they should be more committed, they should be informed. They should be informed, and they should not be ignorant to the law.
Into the working group, there are current situations on Cameroon soil which are favorable to massive human rights violations. The war against Boko Haram in the far north region of Cameroon, the conflict in the northwest and southwest regions, the impact of the conflict in Central African Republic on Cameroon in the east region, and the impact of piracy in the Gulf of Guinea on Cameroon. The report also zooms on a number of violations such as civil and political rights, gender-based violence, and violence against civilians by the state and various non-state armed groups.
Les excès observés lors des précédentes célébrations de la Journée internationale de la femme ont baissé. Je vous propose de suivre les raisons de ce changement dans ce reportage que signe Gladys Bomotanguina.
La Journée internationale de la femme, instituée depuis 1977 afin de faire valoir les droits de la femme et son apport dans la société, est devenue une véritable tradition au Cameroun en particulier, avec entre autres la production d'un pan spécial tous les ans, l'exposition et la promotion de l'entrepreneuriat féminin et de plusieurs autres activités. L'édition 2021, sous le thème Leadership féminin pour un futur égalitaire dans le monde de la COVID-19, est effectivement célébrée en pleine observation de la seconde vague de coronavirus, a été marquée plus positivement que la célébration des années précédentes qui était le théâtre de diverses dépravations de mœurs. Néanmoins, certains excès ont été observés, à l'instar de la tenue des festivités pour certaines femmes jusqu'au petit matin du 9, laissant ainsi l'opinion publique subjuguée et assoiffée de connaître quelles en sont les raisons.
Si vous sortez aujourd'hui, vous allez les voir là d'ailleurs en train de faire du call box, voilà, vendre des bonbons et autres. Ce sont des activités qu'elles mènent 7 jours sur 7. Parfois, elles n'avaient même pas de repos. Je pense que c'est dernièrement qu'on a commencé même à mettre à imposer des jours de repos pour qu'elles se reposent. Et le 8 mars était généralement une journée festive parce que c'était le seul jour où elles pensaient à elles. Parce que pendant toute l'année, une femme, elle pense à son mari, elle pense à ses enfants, elle pense à ses frères, elle pense à ses sœurs, elle pense à toute la famille. Et quand elle finit ça, il y a encore son petit boulot qu'elle a, sa petite activité qu'elle mène. Donc, ce qui fait que pendant pratiquement toute sa vie, en fait, elle s'occupe des autres. Elle ne s'occupe jamais d'elle. Et c'était ce jour où elles avaient justement l'occasion de sortir et d'être entre elles, les femmes, s'amuser. Parfois, ça a beaucoup débordé. Mais j'ai fini par comprendre qu'en réalité, c'était un ouf de soulagement qu'elles avaient. Elles pouvaient penser à elles ce jour.
Pour d'autres ayant fêté responsablement, comme les femmes de médias de My Media Prime Télévision, leur reste à les encourager à continuer à impacter positivement les populations en tant que femmes, mères, épouses et sœurs, peu importe le lieu où elles se trouvent.
Toujours parlant du 8 mars, leadership féminin pour un futur égalitaire dans le monde de la Covid-19. Tel était le thème de cette 36e édition de la Journée internationale des droits de la femme. Dans le reportage qui suit, Dolly Ngonde révèle à quel point les femmes ont répondu à cet appel un jour après la dite célébration.
One day after the celebration of the International Women's Day, which has been observed under the theme Women in Leadership are Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID-19 World, the extent to which women are responding to this call is focused on this story. During her address to the women yesterday, Minister Marie-Theresa Bena-Ondua added her voice to that of First Lady Mrs. Chantal Biar in inviting women massively to be flag bearers in the fight against COVID-19 in the country.
Je les invite à se mobiliser davantage pour porter le leadership de la lutte contre le coronavirus.
Today is March 9th, but unfortunately, this call can be described as that scenario of water being poured on a deck's back, given that the number of women spotted adhering to the COVID-19 preventive measures are still countable in public spheres. Who is to blame? Poor sensitization or mere negligence? From the former perspective, following the cancellation of nationwide parade by the women this year on 8th March by His Excellency President Paul Biya in a bid to curb the widespread of the coronavirus pandemic, this to some women also meant a limitation to the awareness and elaboration of the central theme to them, who unlike the previous years now resorted to daily routines with no directives on how to go about the day and season, thus no clue on what to celebrate and promote. Meanwhile, negligence towards the respect of anti-COVID-19 barrier measures is on the rise like a cankerworm in the society, and not just amongst the female folk to mention. 8th March is gone, but the theme, Women in Leadership are Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID-19 World, is what every woman must promote in order to make this year's edition of the International Women's Day go down memory lane with applause, despite all odds.
Et parlons du Covid-19. Conformément aux recommandations du Premier ministre chef du gouvernement, Joseph John Gouté, l'exécutif communal d'Unfou, sous la supervision du maire Francis Ngoumou, a relancé hier 8 mars la campagne de resensibilisation contre le Covid-19, la distribution des masques de protection et autres pour lutter contre cette propagation était le point du jour. Je vous propose de suivre ce reportage. C'est dans le cadre de la campagne de resensibilisation contre la propagation du Covid-19, conformément à la recrudescence de la pandémie, que le maire de la commune exécutive d'Unfou, Francis Ngoumou, s'est adressé à sa communauté. Dans une approche pédagogique, il a sensibilisé les populations sur la gravité de la situation et sur les gestes barrières, promettant ainsi des sanctions pour le non-respect des mesures barrières.
On est reparti sur une veille permanente. Personne ne sera autorisé à se promener dans l'espace public de la commune de Fou s'ils ne portent de masque. Nous verrons à ce qu'il n'y ait pas de surcharge dans les voitures, qu'au marché, que dans les débits de boissons. Toutes les mesures d'hygiène sont respectées. C'est le lancement d'un processus qui va durer tant que ce sera nécessaire.
La distribution des masques de protection, gel hydroalcoolique et des savons aux commerçants, chauffeurs transport public, chefs de village a marqué cette opération. Un geste qu'a apprécié les bénéficiaires.
Même si je sors, même si je vais où je porte, je vais souvent couvrir ma marchandise comme moi je fais souvent le bâton.
J'ai ramassé les mains pour donner le masque-ci. Je vais distribuer ça à mes gars.
Le geste de la mairie d'aujourd'hui nous donne joie au cœur parce que nous on a toujours eu le plaisir de porter les cache-nez, mais dans notre vie on n'a jamais eu un stock de cache-nez même pour acheter.
Cette campagne de resensibilisation anti-Covid-19 dans la commune d'Unfou vient quelques jours après la lettre du Premier ministre chef du gouvernement Joseph Dione Gouté sur la recrudescence de la pandémie. Pour la commune d'Unfou, bien que aucun cas de contamination n'a été enregistré dans cette partie du pays, l'heure n'est pas au relâchement des mesures barrières. Vous regardez Prime News sur My Media Prime Television. Plus de 4000 réfugiés nigériens au camp de Minawao à Maroua ont été accueillis dans leur patrie sous la supervision du ministre de l'administration territoriale Paul Atanganji et du gouverneur de l'État de Borno. Ces ex-réfugiés ont également bénéficié de l'assistance matérielle du chef de l'État, son Excellence Paul Biya. Les détails avec Guienda Perdrine Blanche.
Headed by the Minister of Territorial Administration, Minister Paul Atanganji, and Fanoff Governor, the first set of Nigerian refugees on voluntary repatriation were received by a delegation led by Governor of Borno State in Amchide, border town between Cameroon and Nigeria, in Kolofata Subdivision, Mayowa Sava Division. During the ceremony to officially welcome back the over 400 of 5,000 Nigerian refugees, Minister Paul Atanganji distributed some relief materials from the head of state to the 113 families, comprising of hygiene kits, beddings, and food items. All other refugees who voluntarily return will equally benefit from this aid, according to the Minister of Territorial Administration. The delegation from Cameroon was welcomed by the governor of Borno State, Babangana Zulum, who described the occasion as historic, extending appreciation to the presidents of Nigeria and Cameroon and the multinational joint task force who accompanied the refugees, announcing an imminent reopening of borders for economic activities to begin between the two countries. Amongst the Nigerians returning home are those born in the Minao camp, going back to their land for the first time. Due to COVID-19 and strict respect for all barrier measures, pregnant women in their last trimester, sick persons, and those who tested positive were exempted. A total of 12 buses provided by the Borno State government carried the refugees, while their livestock and luggage were packed in separate trucks. The returnees were based at the Minawao camp in Marua, a camp created in 2013, host to about 70,000 refugees.
La directrice exécutive du REDAC, Maximilienne Ngombe, a reçu le prix international du courage des femmes à l'occasion de la journée internationale des droits de la femme hier. La militante des droits humains a été reconnue pour ses qualités de leader exceptionnelle. Les détails avec Nora Kakebi.
Executive Director of the Central African Human Rights Defenders Network, Maximilienne Ngombe, has been recognized by the United States for exemplary leadership skills. Recently, she and other extraordinary women from across the globe were handed recognition at the annual International Women of Courage Awards, a virtual ceremony hosted by the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. According to the United States government, the REDHAC Executive Director has demonstrated extraordinary leadership qualities, courage, perseverance, and resilience through adversity in the promotion of human rights activities in Cameroon and Central Africa at large. It should be noted that Maximilienne Ngombe has been at the fore with an outspoken voice among civil society actors, often sacrificing her personal safety and security, all in a bid for a peaceful solution to the Anglophone crisis in the war-ravaged English-speaking regions of Cameroon. The rights activist, Maximilienne, has equally spoken out against the increased constraints placed on civil society, journalists and political opposition by the government of Cameroon. In addition, she has called for an end to human rights abuses committed by both separatists and security forces in the restive regions and by the security forces in the far north region. Despite numerous threats and assaults on her person, her commitment in promoting human rights is unshakable. Apart from supporting civil society organizations in Africa and activities in their quest to defend and protect human rights, the rights activist equally doubles as a member of the board of directors of the Pan-African Human Rights Defenders Network, Red Hat. The rights organization's goal is to ensure the recognition of the status and protection of human rights defenders. It also helps to strengthen the capacities of human rights defenders for their safety and protection in their work, conducting effective advocacy on behalf of defenders.
Le ministre délégué auprès du MINREX chargé de la coopération avec le monde islamique, Adoum Gargoum, qui a rendu l'âme hier 8 mars à l'hôpital de la CNPS des suites d'une courte maladie, a été porté en terre ce jour. Le récit de cette cérémonie ainsi que son parcours de vie avec Aileen Sama.
The statesman, Adoum Gargoum, who died yesterday, March 8, 2021, at the age of 67 after a brief illness in Yaoundé, has been laid to rest today in strict Muslim tradition in Koufoulou, Cameroon's central region. Representing the head of state at the burial was the Director of Civil Cabinet, Samuel Mvondo Ayolo. Announcing his death through a statement on Monday, the Director of Cabinet at the Prime Minister's office, Balungeli Confiance Ebune, said Adoum Gargoum served Cameroon with honor, determination and loyalty in his capacity as member of government. He was last seen in public last month when he granted audience to Turkish ambassador to Cameroon, Ais Sarak. Minister Adoum Gargoum was born on August 7th, 1954 in Kuseri, region of origin, far north. A graduate of the National School of Administration and Magistracy, ENAM, as well as the Center in Africa for Labor Administration, CRADAT. The statesman held various governmental positions from Provincial Inspector of Labor and Social Insurance, Permanent Secretary at some ministries in the country, to Minister Delegate of External Relations in charge of cooperation with the Islamic world from December 7, 1997 to March 8, 2021, before his passing. Adoum Gargoum was married and father of 6 children.
Allons à présent dans le nord-ouest où l'institution et l'intronisation du révérend Ebaï Frédéric Tikou en tant que pasteur et trésorier de la paroisse presbytérienne à Bafout a eu lieu ce week-end dans la paroisse presbytérienne à Guiati. Au cours de cette célébration, le révérend Assaha Ferdinand, le célébrant, a exhorté les chrétiens à respecter les autorités instituées et bien d'autres encore. Plus de détails avec Charles Kebois, notre correspondant.
In a Divine Church service Sunday, March 7th, 2021, bringing Christians and family members in the presence of cross-section of pastors of the Bafout Presbytery, the service officiated by the Presbyterian Secretary of Bafout, Reverend Assaha Ferdinand, instituted and inducted Reverend Ebaï Frédéric Tikou as a Presbyterian Treasurer of the Bafout Presbytery and Parish Pastor of PC Agati. Preaching from 1 Thessalonians 5, verses 12 to 24, the Reverend Assaha Ferdinand urged Christians to respect those in authority because before being appointed by God is for a purpose. Like said that wherever God sends you, he equips you. The Reverend Ebaï Frédéric is not new to the Anglophone crisis, living from Nguti in the southwest region to Bafout, another crisis zone in the northwest. He will have a tremendous role to play in the spiritual lives of Christians and the growth of the church.
With what the first strategy we put in place is getting to the grassroots, meeting the people at the various congregations, encouraging them on their responsibility, what they ought to do for the advancement of God's kingdom, even in the midst of the challenging moment, because God can always squeeze water out of the rock. And whatever thing they do at the level of the parishes, the pastors put the resources together, they bring during our monthly meeting so that we can then begin to do work, begin to execute the budget according to how it was approved by the Synod of the Provincial Church in Cameroon.
Welcoming the new pastor, the congregation chair appealed to church authorities of the PCC to give them opportunity to carry on with their pastors for 5 years instead of 3 years before transfer for the sake of spiritual growth. Presentation of gifts to the new pastor and a longue dance graced the day.
Et toujours dans le nord-ouest, les femmes du village de Bali, sous la bannière de Nkumu Fed, qui signifie réseau des sœurs, ont fait don de produits alimentaires, des vêtements, médicaments et autres aux 26 enfants qui avaient été enlevés à Limbe par un groupe de trafiquants d'enfants. Je vous propose de suivre ce reportage de Kuma Honoré.
They call themselves the Nkumu Fed women from Balinyonga descent. While other women were busy with activities to celebrate the International Women's Day, the network of sisters from Balinyonga descent took upon themselves to visit the Gendarmerie Brigade of Limbe 1 subdivision to provide assistance to some 26 children who are reported to have been trafficked from Bafaka Balue in Meme subdivision to Dockyard Down Beach, Limbe. These children have been at the Limbe 1 Brigade for more than a week as investigations are ongoing to track down a network of traffickers involved in the crime. Upon hearing this information, the Nkumu Fed women took it as a duty to visit the children regularly to provide them with food, clothes, medication, just to mention but these few. This act of benevolence falls in line with their human rights program, with trafficking in person one of their major areas of intervention.
This is the International Day of the Women. We thought it wise to celebrate with these children. That's why we had to come here today. Rather than going to sit in a bar to drink, we thought that it would be wise for us to come and share the joy with these our children here.
The Nkumu Fed women are known in their intervention for the repatriation of Cameroonians from Kuwait who were later trained and reinserted to the society.
We have a law on trafficking, law number 2011/024 of 14 December 2011, which talks of its fighting against trafficking in persons and slavery. And if we look at the ages of these children, they range between 7 and 14. That age range, it aggravates the penalty. So if at the end of the day it's trafficking in persons, the penalty, the people have to serve imprisonment term between 15 and 20 years and pay a fine between 100,000 and 1 million francs CFA.
Through this gesture, the network of sisters from Balinyonga are joining their voices with that of the government to see to it that the trafficking in person law is applied to the latter, with Cameroon being a signatory to several international conventions.
Et c'est ainsi que nous mettons fin à l'édition de ce jour qui a été coordonnée par Lasha Kingsley et Wane Eli Nolinga était à la production. Madame, Messieurs, merci d'avoir été des nôtres. Retrouvez Koum Leonard et ses panélistes dans quelques instants pour Prime Art. Bonne soirée à tous.